Jake, are you ready to go?
I'm ready.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of The Experience Creators. My name is Carolene and I am your host. And today I am introducing you to an incredibly inspiring individual, Jake Kelfer. Jake is a lifestyle entrepreneur, life elevator, and coach to ambitious entrepreneurs all over the world who are creating incredibly impactful and profitable businesses. He is also the best-selling author of Elevate Beyond and Elevate Your Network, a high-energy motivational speaker, and the founder of the Professional Basketball Combine, which has helped over 70 NBA draft prospects turn their dreams of playing pro into a reality. He has been featured in Forbes, Sports Illustrated, and ESPN, and today we are going to talk about the power of connection, how you can transform every networking opportunity into an incredible experience. So without further ado, let's dive into the interview. Jake, welcome to the Experience Creators. It is an absolute pleasure to have you on this interview. In thinking about the launch month, the premiere month of the Experience Creators, you were at the top of my list of people that I wanted to include. You've been a huge inspiration for me over the last 6 months. So hence the reason you're here. So huge welcome to you and thank you for coming on board.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I am very excited. This is going to be a lot of fun.
It sure will be. We are going to start with the most important question, and that is, what are the elements that make an incredible experience in your mind, in your perspective?
That is a loaded question to begin with.
It is. I know. I'm just putting it out there.
So look, I think experiences, and there's always experiences that we remember. And why do we remember them? Because they gave us a certain feeling. Okay. Now I call this the feeling of elevation. Okay. And the feeling of elevation, whenever you're in an experience, is about, can you get somebody to leave? Can you leave them better than you found them? Right? Can you give somebody a chance to put an extra smile on their face? Can you give them an experience that they're going to remember? Can you give them something that's going to associate with something positive? And when you can do that in your experience, whether it's one-on-one with somebody, whether it's in a big group, whether it's a traditional experience such as an event or going to a basketball game, how can you leave that person feeling like they have had a great time with the people around them, right? So environment, the emotions that you bring out, the entertainment value, all of these things about really making sure that you develop a connection with each individual that comes through your experience in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, I love that. And I know when I'm working with my clients, one of the very first exercises that I do is write down 3 emotion words that you want your guests to feel when they go through your experience, which is exactly to your point. It's about the impact that you're creating. How can you create an impact on them that is going to last their entire lifetime, that's a big ask, but that is always the goal. So can you think of an experience that you had maybe when you were younger, many years ago, that to this day you can still recall every moment, the feeling that you had? Does anything spring to mind straight away?
I mean, there's so many moments. Okay, there's so many experiences
Pick one.
in my life. I'll give you an experience of, and you've heard this story, but for everyone that is listening to this is going to get it for the first time.
Right.
And this is an experience I had when I was working for the Los Angeles Lakers. So when I was working for the Los Angeles Lakers, I was a corporate partnerships assistant, meaning I was responsible for creating great experiences for the audience. I picked the contestants to actually participate in the half court shot or the meet and greets or the skills challenge and things like that. And I remember that I was going down to get to work and put my contestant out on the court and give them that chance. And while I was getting in the elevator, Jerry West walks in the door. Now, Jerry West, for people that are listening that don't know who he is the guy the NBA made their logo after. He is the logo. That's his nickname, right? He is a Lakers legend, Hall of Fame player. I mean, he is a hero. And as a kid growing up as a Laker fan, he walks in the elevator. My heart just starts pounding. I'm
Right.
like, oh my gosh, this is unbelievable. I'm in an elevator with Jerry West. This is like one of those moments where you're like, as a kid, and you dream of like being around like some of your favorite players and some of the people that you've always looked up to. And the elevator attendant looks at Jerry and he says, excuse me, what floor do you want to go to? Jerry looks at him and he's like, event level, right? He's got courtside seats. Now he looks at Jerry and he says, well, do you have a credential? Because if not, I'm going to have to ask you to step off the elevator. And in my mind, I'm like, holy shit, is he serious right now? Like, this is Jerry West. And he
Right.
had no idea. And Jerry says, no, I don't have a credential, but do you know who I am? And he says, no, but I'm going to have to ask you to step off because this gentleman, pointing at me, needs to get down to work. And I was like, this can't be happening. Right as Jerry's about to stand off, though, I say, wait, Jerry, you're with me. I'll escort you down. And the person working the elevator looks at me and he's like, are you sure? So I look at Jerry and I'm like, what do you think? You know, like waiting for this nod of approval. Jerry gives me the nod. So I give the elevator attendant the exact same nod. And Carolene, the next 14 seconds were incredible. Okay. It was the greatest elevator ride I've ever had. And we get out of the elevator. Okay. We get out of the elevator. We're about to go our separate ways. And this is the experience. Right before I start to wonder, is Jerry going to be pissed? Is he going to be upset? Is he going to be frustrated that the guy didn't know who he was, that he didn't recognize him for being the celebrity that he is? Is he going to be pissed that a 22-year-old assistant had to stand up for him in an elevator? But he sticks out his hand, shakes my hand, and says, thank you. I appreciate what you just did for me. And it's in moments like that where I realize that every single one of us have the power to create an experience that someone will remember for the rest of their life. Mm-hmm. Jerry West, being calm, patient, and appreciative, taught me an invaluable lesson, which is that at the end of the day, we are all just people. And we all want the same things: to be loved, to be heard, to be complimented, to feel that we matter, and to feel that we belong. And Jerry West in that moment gave me that feeling of elevation. Because of that feeling, I started to say, how can I impact other people more? How can I give people the same feeling? How can I provide the same experience for everyone that I work with moving forward? So as I continue working with the Lakers, I keep helping contestants, right? I keep picking the contestants. I keep trying to give them the greatest experiences. Fast forward 4 years later, I make a post on LinkedIn. I post about something similar to this story. It gets a bunch of likes. It starts going around the internet. All of a sudden, there's a comment. I read the comment. I have no idea who this person is. And this person says, Jake, I was one of the contestants that you picked back when you worked with the Lakers. I still talk about that night because of how much fun you made it. It wasn't just the fact that I shot the half court shot or whatever he did. He was talking about the experience. He was talking about the feeling, the entire start to finish. When he walked in the door, when I picked him up, when I brought him down, there was so much more than just the singular act of doing the experience. And that's when you create a true experience, when you can leave someone with a lasting memory that they associate with incredible positivity and optimism. So that's one experience for me that I remember to my core, that has shaped the way that I do things.
And that really catapulted your whole kind of mission, right? That was really the instigator in a way. I had a lot of moments at Cirque du Soleil where I really saw the power of impact and how an experience can affect people's lives. And that for me was my catapult moment. But, you know, when the show would finish or at intermission, when I would see people walk out of that big top and just see the expression on their face, you know, sometimes they'd be crying while they were watching a moment. And it was so incredibly powerful. And so that, you know, that's what the Experience Creators is all about. Exactly what you said. How can we create a moment that is going to leave the most incredible lasting impression years and years to come? I'm sure that you'll be able to tell that story when you're like 90 years old with the same attention to detail, with the same enthusiasm than you're telling it now. I love that.
Yeah, of course.
So you in your business, you're teaching millennials how to build six-figure businesses really through the power of connection. And so why is that? And I guess that the question before kind of insinuates that, but why did you want that to be your focus, the power of connection and how you can build an incredible business through that?
Well, I don't believe you can achieve true success or happiness without having great relationships. Okay. And here's what I mean by that. And I'll ask you these questions. Okay. Have you ever gotten a customer where you didn't have some form of connection or interaction with that person?
I don't think so. No. Yeah.
You have to have an interaction with the person. They have to know who you are and you have to get them to sign. Have you ever been on a romantic experience with somebody else that did not involve another person?
No.
No, you can't. It doesn't exist. That would be taking yourself out on a date, right? Like, which those are great, but it doesn't include someone else, right?
Yeah.
Everything that we do and the foundation of our life is based on the people that are around us. And the people that are most happy, and we know this from the research, is that relationships and connection is one of the biggest indicators of long-term happiness.
Right.
So when we talk about building our businesses and we think about what should I create? What am I going to offer? Well, Who do you want to serve? Okay, first we got to know, who are we going to serve? How can we help them, right? We want to identify their problems. We want to know their struggles. We want to know their desires. The more we connect, the easier it becomes. When we create our offers, when we create our courses, our coaching programs, right? What do we say? We look at our people and we say, what do you want to learn? And then we give them what they need, right? We ask them what they want, we give them what they need. It's always based. The people that are able to have incredible growth and success are the ones that dive deep and have the conversations to build connection. And so I believe, whether it's been my books, whether it's been my speaking career, whether it's been with my basketball work and helping NBA prospects, or whether it's as a coach to entrepreneurs, everything that I've been able to do has been a direct result of the connection that I've made and the connections that I've created that have enabled me to live this life where I'm fully passionate and excited about it, but I'm also serving my greater purpose. And that's what connection really enables me to do, and why I think it's just the foundational element of anybody's success and growth.
And working with millennials in particular, what is, I'm curious to know, I'm a millennial as well, but what is one thing that we as millennials do really well in terms of connecting? And what is one thing where there is huge room for growth and improvement?
Well, the good thing that we see with millennials, something that millennials do really well with connecting, is they tend to initiate. Okay.
Right.
So they tend to initiate. What millennials don't do well is follow up.
Okay.
And these are really, like, the follow up is really with everybody. Okay. But when I think of, like, when we work with a lot of millennials are typically more active on social media. They've grown up with it, or it's become part of their life. So they know how to utilize it and at least reach out, send stories, connect with people, send connection requests. They're not necessarily as intimidated by doing it, because they know how many people are on there and they're willing to kind of just throw it out there and see what happens. But what millennials tend to not do is most focus on a spray and pray. They want to reach out and hope that things are going to just automatically happen, where we know that the money and the real connection is in the follow-up. The follow-up is the secret sauce that most people tend to forget. So that's like a yin and yang type of thing, right? But there are so many other things that people do, and there are pros and cons to how people are always connecting. There are things that you should do, and there are things that you shouldn't do when it comes to connecting. And here's another one. Here's a common mistake I see a lot of people making: is a lot of people make it about them. Okay. They make it about themselves rather than making it about the other person. When we're connecting and building a real relationship and trying to level up or give somebody an experience, we need to do something. The best experience is the one where that person feels the most value. That person has the greatest experience. It's not about us. It's about what can we do for them. And that is the secret. That is, like, really how we can develop these relationships with people, by focusing on, hey, I'm going to make you have the greatest experience possible. I'm going to take a survey in advance that when you arrive and I know your favorite chocolate, I'm going to put that chocolate on your seat. Or I'm going to do something special for you because I pay attention, I ask good questions, and I've learned. That's how you make it about them. And you start to focus on what you can do for them rather than just on what someone else can do for you or how good they can make you look. Instead, we need to focus on serving other people and living out that way through connection.
Right. And even focusing on, I know I fell into the trap early on of focusing on what is my expertise. And through my expertise, you're going to find value in me. And even just the simple exercise of going through my website and counting how many times I said the word I, as opposed to we, or as opposed to other terminology that really makes the potential clients feel that they are the ones that are actually living this experience of working together with you. So that makes a lot of sense. When you're someone, and all the work, the mentorship that you have given me, one of the most valuable things that have come out of our experience together really is that you really practice what you preach. And a lot of even though there's a lot of coaching in terms of one-on-one back and forth conversation, a lot of what I've learned from you has come from actually observing you doing what you're advising. So when you think about the experience that you're giving your clients as a coach, what kind of experiences do you give them that you hope or you advise them that they are then passing on to their clients, their potential clients?
Well, I think such a big part of coaching and working with others is really being able to listen. And I think that when we are coaching with other people, or even when we're talking, one of the things I always try to do with clients is everybody's different. Okay. While you may have processes and steps that work for everybody, there's always going to be different approaches and avenues to really make that work. Right.
Right.
And so, one of the things that I really try to do, and that I hope our clients continue to pass on, and you've done a great job with this, is listening to what they have to say, really understanding what they're getting at, continue to ask further questions, and then be able to give them the best option and solution that is the easiest way of moving forward, right? And so when we talk and when I work with clients, I try to ask a lot of questions. I want to know what's going on. Is it affecting other parts of their life? How are these things all intertwined? Because there's always more than just the initial thing, right? A lot of times we have to go deeper into it to see the bigger picture. And so when it comes to that, and then what I hope clients will take away from that is showing that you care. When we work with athletes, when I work with athletes, when I talk with parents, when I talk with people who are in leadership positions, one of the things that is an incredible relationship builder is letting the person, letting your kids, letting your clients, letting your athletes, letting your teammates know that you care, and know that you're supporting them, and know that you're rooting for them, and know that you have their best interest in heart. And when you do that, people will start to believe. People will start to feel that permission. People will start to do things that they may not have thought were initially possible. But it's all within us. We can all achieve greatness. We can all have it all. But sometimes we just need a little bit of a push. And that comes from the first part of this answer, which is we need to listen.
Yeah.
We need to listen. We need to pay attention. We need to understand to the best of our ability what someone is going through, and then give them the best course of action.
Yeah, and I love that, because it's oftentimes when we create an experience, whether it's a physical live experience, whether it's a virtual experience, whether it's just an experience in our day-to-day, we create the experience with the big event in mind, the main goal, like that main thing that we want everyone to be attracted by. And we really don't focus on everything that surrounds that, all of those micro moments that happen. And so exactly to your point, actually listening to your guests, your potential clients, and really figuring out, okay, they are coming for that main event, but what is it in all of those moments around the main event that is really going to make this experience stand out to all the rest, in terms of the amount of impacts that we can create, transformation that we can create, and create those moments that they will remember forever. Because I talk about this a lot, in that we think that we know what the defining moment of that experience is going to be, but it is going to be different for every single person. And if we put all of our eggs into one basket and just focus on that one main event, we are missing many potential opportunities to create all these other kind of magical moments along the way. Would you agree with that?
Well, yeah. And just to that point, right? If you think defining moment, let's just say it's 10 steps, like there's 10 things that someone will do.
Right.
Okay. Now, if we take that and you think step 6 is your defining moment, you're like, this is where everything happens. Okay. If you don't take care of them in steps 1 through 5, it doesn't matter what step 6 is, no matter how great it is, because they won't be primed. They won't be ready for it. But when you guide them to a certain point and then you deliver on step 6, which is your most magical moment, that's when the true transformation happens within the experience.
Yes.
And then you can ride that wave towards the back end. And I know that you have an incredible process of how you take people through experiences. And I think that it's such a good point, what you're saying, for sure.
Yeah. And again, really understanding that journey, because like you said, if you're only focusing on that one main event, like those 1 through 5 steps, they may not even make it. They may turn around and go home, or they may turn around and shut down their laptop before they even get to that main event, because you have not created enough intentionality, maybe authenticity, creativity in those first moments to really draw them in, to really capture them in the moment. I would love, you are a speaker. I would love to know the kinds of topics that you speak on. And also, obviously, 2020 is a year that live speaking engagements have completely been decimated. So I'd love to know, how are you transitioning, and what are you seeing in terms of the kinds of speaking engagements that you're getting, as there is a huge focus and pivot to more virtual presentations, more virtual experiences?
I think an underrated play here. And a lot of people think like, oh, if in-person events are done, then what is the exact same on a virtual point?
Right.
And there is the same thing where you're on a virtual stage, right? And it's a event. It's the same event, but virtual, right? And there are those types of events. But what I think 2020 has taught a lot of people is that there are other types of stages that you can really get on that might not be the exact same as you were when you're speaking on stage. And because of that, it has provided more opportunities. So some of these opportunities and stages that are virtually that maybe people weren't thinking about or utilizing as a resource for themselves or their brand or their business is virtual stages, like a legitimate event keynote, okay? Doing podcasts, that is hands down one of the greatest stage that you can be on right now. Doing joint webinars, Instagram lives, doing your own webinars, doing your own video series. The beautiful thing about what 2020 has taught us is that we are only in control of so much.
Right.
And we can't control the outside circumstances. And sometimes we can't even control, what happens with events, right? Sometimes events may cancel. So the question then becomes, what can we do that is in our control that allows us to still move forward? And so I've probably done 100 plus podcasts in the last couple of months, purely off the fact that this is a great stage to be on. I'm meeting 100 plus hosts. I'm meeting 100 people's audiences. I'm getting to know so many people. And it becomes so fun because most people that speak want to do it because they want to make an impact.
Right.
And if you really believe in that message and you really want to help more people, then you need to get on more stages and you need to have more conversations. And it all goes back to one truth. You need to connect at any level in order to get to the next one. And so this is where connection's been a lot of fun. You could even add summits in there, right? You've seen that I did a summit. I was able to connect with a bunch of people that I hadn't talked to before. There are all types of ways that we can leverage these virtual stages. And that's really what I've kind of been focusing on is, okay, if I can't speak in person, I'm hopefully going to do all those same gigs as virtual gigs, which is awesome. I'll do some workouts. I'll do some breakout sessions. I'll do a bunch of podcasts. I'll do some webinars. I'll do some live videos. And I start to diversify it, right? I start to diversify it and really learn where my audience is coming from, what they like. I'm creating content for new audience. I'm speaking on certain stages for new audiences. And then I'm creating certain content for audiences that have come into the ecosystem to take them to the next phase, right? It's all part of their customer experience within, as I call it, the Elevate brand, right?
Right.
And I think that this is something that a lot of our clients are doing a really great job of, is getting on podcasts. I mean, you're an incredible example of that. And a lot of other people are using virtual stages as an incredible opportunity to develop connections, get more exposure, increase their sales, boost their credibility, and things like that.
I'm finding that podcast is really interesting. Where I've done a couple of speaking gigs prior, and the thing about a speaking gig is obviously there's a topic that you have. It is you are speaking in front of a group of people. You can make it interactive, of course, but for the most part, you are speaking to the group. Podcasts have been really interesting because each host has a different angle that they're coming in. They have different experiences. Their podcasts are about different topics, yet you're speaking to your expertise, your brand, what you're offering. And what I've found really interesting is that it's a great opportunity to learn how to talk about what you would like your experience to be in a different way, because the questions are coming in different. Have you found that as you go through podcasts, that has been a completely different experience from the live stage experience?
Yeah, I mean, look, one's a Q&A and one's not, right?
Right.
And so of that alone, it's completely different. I did a speech last night for an organization, and it was epic. And it was about a 25-minute keynote where I was the keynote speaker, and I was telling different stories, doing some interaction, getting them to comment in the Zoom chat, right, to try to keep attention. But then you have podcasts or even interviews like this, right, where we're asking questions and I'm coming up with different ways to share a message. I'm using different stories, different examples that will hopefully relate more towards you and to your audience, but that still show who my personality is and what we can do. So there is a huge difference, but I think there are so many great things that come from all these different types of virtual events.
And what's something that you've learned over the last year in terms of your skill set, what you're offering, that You've obviously everyone's done a huge pivot no matter kind of what fields that they're in. What have you learned something about yourself in terms of the experience that you offer, that you give out, that you have maybe gone and done some extra work on, or had some extra coaching on, or really changed a little bit in the experience that you're giving your audience?
Ooh, I've learned a ton. That's why it's hard to pick one. I've learned a ton, and one of the biggest things that I've seen in my business as everything's happened in 2020 is really focused on this idea of being consistent, okay,
Right.
and really continuing to show up and do the things that are actually going to drive your business forward. So when speaking gigs got changed, I had to say, okay, what is the best way to spend my time to get the results that I want to get with our clients? Okay, things have changed. Okay, some people's events have changed, some people's businesses have changed. Well, what is the best way for them to get the best results, right? And so it's about being consistent, asking the questions, focusing on the things that are really going to move everything forward, in spite of the things that are out of our control again. And then I think, like, internally for me, one of the things that I've really taken to heart during this time is that, you know, we can get so caught up, before this, we can get so caught up in just going from point A to point B to point C to point D to point E. And we just are constantly just a pinball, just getting bounced around in all different directions. And that craziness is our normal. And then when this has happened, it really forced me to take a second to say, okay, let's evaluate what's going on. This is the first time I'm not on a plane every single month, or every couple of weeks for last 2 years. What have I really been wanting to do? Is this my passion? Is this my purpose? Where is it in alignment? And I was able to, because of 2020, really take a second to think and evaluate what I was doing, how I was showing up, and if I could improve on how I delivered to the people that needed it the most. And I've become so much more aware. I've become so much more confident in certain aspects of my life. And most importantly, though, for me, is I've been able to connect at a much deeper level with people. And my product of creating an experience has drastically increased,
Right.
because I've been able to get to know people more and more and more. And that just continues to be a ever growing focus. So it's been a hell of a ride. Internally, I've gone through a lot of changes, but I know that these have all brought great light to for our clients, and will continue to really help everyone moving forward.
And that idea of like that slap in the face, let's slow down, where so much has been removed, and now what can we create with the tools that we have? I give the example of, I started lockdown with 3 months without a laptop, and I was doing everything on my phone. And I know I sent you pictures of me trying to create my website with pieces of paper on the ground. I felt like a bit of a cave woman at the time. But that process allows me to do everything very intentionally, because instead of jumping on really quickly and making all these changes, me, I love just changing things around on my website left, right, and center. I actually had no choice but to do it with pen and paper, and actually take time to create something that was a lot more powerful than I would have created had I had all the tools that I was used to in the past. So it sounds like something similar for you, where that even just that element of removing those live speaking gigs, removing that constant travel, allowed you to kind of look at your experience and say, okay, how can I create more value? How can I create an even more intentional, more exceptional experience for the people that I want to serve?
Love it.
Yeah. Is there so moving into 2021, we're all hopeful of a better year than 2020. Is there anything exciting that you're working on right now? Maybe in addition to, I'd love to know kind of what are your offers right now, in the sense of what do you offer as a coach for those millennials that really want to create a six-figure business? And what are some exciting things, if you can share them, coming up in the new year?
So many exciting things, Carolene. Like, I am so excited for 2021. I mean, I really am. But one of the big things I'm excited about is I've been working on my third book for a while now. and it's an interview-based book all about how to become a high-performing, productivity-crushing, freedom-achieving entrepreneur. And like, I'm just geeked up on that because the people that are in the book are just absolutely incredible. And it's going to be a true blessing to be able to share those interviews and everything I've learned with it. So I'm grateful and very excited about that project. And then another big thing for me is really working on continuing to produce great results for our clients. I mean, I get so excited when someone, or you or another one of our clients sends me a text or a DM and is like, "Oh my gosh, this just happened."
Right.
I literally, like, I jump up and down like it just happened to me. Like, I'm so excited. And I think that's like maybe from the sports background where I just want to win. And it's like, if the team's winning, we're all winning.
Right.
And I just love it because we're a team and we're growing together and we're changing the world together. And so for me, the big focus is really building up our coaching program. And what that looks like is I have a one-on-one 8-week program where I take entrepreneurs from wherever they're at. A lot of them are just starting or trying to make the transition out of the 9 to 5, or have started their business but aren't seeing consistent returns. And we take them to that next level. So there's that. And then the other aspect is we have a do-it-yourself program, all under the Elite Elevation umbrella, where people can take our program. There's worksheets, there's video modules, there's handouts, there's all types of great things in there. And they can really kind of do it at their own pace. And still see incredible results. And it's amazing. I mean, it's so fun to meet everyone, but those are the things I'm excited about and what we're working on.
And what kind of businesses are your clients creating? Like, I'm sure there's a plethora of businesses through all walks of life, but like, what are some examples of things that people are doing when they're coming through your programs?
Oh, this is one of, I think, like the coolest things ever is we have people in our program. So we have somebody who they run a firearms training business for women. Okay. We have somebody who is a social media manager for Black owned businesses. We have somebody who is a mindset coach, right? We have someone, she is one of the world's leading Excel gurus, and she teaches you how to do Excel while also being like dancing. And I'm like, this is so cool. We have an MBA life optimization coach who we've helped him create his breakthrough performance program. So we have a financial coach that I work with. So all types of coaches and entrepreneurs who are really elevating their digital game. Everybody here is creating high ticket offers. Everyone's creating something special, and ultimately creating an experience that they can guide people through to help create the transformation that they know they're capable of creating.
And I mean, this has been an incredible year for that, right? Like, if there's any time that I want to start something, if I've had this goal, if I've had this dream of creating my business, or some kind of extra addition to what I already offer, like, this has definitely been the year to kind of go, well, let's just go for it. You know, we literally have nothing to lose in this kind of environment. So have you felt that that's kind of a lot of the mindset that comes in, like, this is the time that we really want to go in and really create something impactful?
Oh yeah, I mean, I think for some people, this time has forced them to do it. I
Yeah,
think for
that's
some
me,
people, it's
definitely.
been, yeah, and for some people, it's been like, you know what? I've always wanted to do something. Now I
Right.
just got laid off from my job, and it wasn't my fault. And now the golden handcuffs have been removed. So now it's time for you to start your own. There are so many different things, and other people are just like, you know what? I'm loving that I'm not traveling every single week right now. Let me just, how do I get into the online space? Like, how do I do this? Like, I have 20 years of experience. Like, how do I turn that into a new program? And so I think, right now in this time of life, it's one of the easiest times to ever create an online business. The tools are all at your disposal. There's a lot of great people. The online education space is booming, and it is such a great time to really start living your dreams. The Chinese proverb says the best time to plant an oak tree was 20 years ago, right? The second best time is today.
Is today,
And
yes.
one of the things that I live by is a quote from my dad that said, the only shortcut in life is to start now. And so I believe that if we want anything in our life, I mean, we have to act on it, and we have to start today because we only get one shot. We only have one life, and we might as well make it the life we design, not let other people live it or other people design it for
And
us.
that's a whole reason why I started the Experience Creators, and this show and this interview series was because I felt the magic of experiences was kind of getting a little bit lost amongst all of the cloud of negativity, uncertainty that is going on in 2020. And there's such power in creating amazing experiences. If you can actually execute on creating an incredible experience, then the power and the transformation that you will see in those that are going through it, your participants, your guests, your clients, will outshine anything that is going on day to day. So do you have any last pieces of advice for creating incredible experiences that maybe we haven't touched on yet?
Yeah, I'll throw a couple more things in here. You got me fired up, Kelly. Look, when it comes to creating experiences at whatever level, okay, one of the things that I would say, and it kind of ties everything together, is enjoy it. Okay. Enjoy the process of creating the experience. Enjoy the process of guiding someone through it. Enjoy the process that you might not have ever really loved, but realize how important it is to make the whole wheel spin. And so my mom always used to text me, live in the moment and enjoy the journey. And so I think that when you create an experience, like live in that moment where you're at with the people that you're with. That would be an unbelievable tip for anyone who's listening, is to experience it fully. Create the experience, not just for them, but for you to live it too. And see the change, see how much things grow when you become as invested and as excited. Make connecting with them the highlight of your day rather than seeing it as an obligation, right? A lot of times, oh, we have to send networking emails, we have to start new combos. See that as, oh my gosh, this is an opportunity for us to change the world together, right?
Right.
And maybe it's not that drastic, but maybe it's, hey, this is an opportunity for us to help you lose 10 pounds together. We're gonna change the way you view life, right? Like whatever the experience is, live it, enjoy it, be a part of it with your customer, and go on the journey with them. And that's where I'll wrap up my thoughts for today.
Amazing. So many amazing takeaways today, Jake. It has been an absolute pleasure, and it is an honor to have you as one of the guests on the premiere month of the Experience Creators. So thank you so much for all the amazing wisdom that you brought today, and thank you for being an incredible experience creator.
Yeah, thank you for having me. This was a blast. I'm proud of you, Carolene.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching this week's episode of the Experience Creators with Jake Kelfer. Both Jake and myself hope that you found the conversation valuable, that you got a lot of great insights, and you now have some new tools at your disposal to help create an incredible experience. Please make sure to subscribe to the channel so that you know the next time a guest expert graces the Experience Creators stage. And if you would like to be part of the Experience Creators community, please sign up for our email list below in the description. Thank you once again, and just remember that one great experience has the power to change someone's world.